Good morning and happy 2018. Those of you that are returning Air Command and Staff College students, let me welcome you back for the second half of your year-long experience. Those of you that are guests here for the next couple days, welcome to the inaugural leadership exercise. I've got a few admin notes for you real quick, and then we will get on with the program. Number one, if you don't remember where you're supposed to be for the breakout sessions, the rosters are available on the LEDx website. You can also provide feedback for the LEDx sessions on that same website. I will also remind you that lunch will be served both in the Wishbone Cafe, which is here in the Squadron Officer College building. It's basically right outside the back entrance to the auditorium, and through 5 food trucks that will be parked on the inner circle outside, in case you like to combine very hot barbecue with very cold weather by Montgomery standards. If you need any help at any point during any aspect of the leadership exercise, just grab one of the individuals walking around with the red lanyards and the big name tags hanging in the middle of their chest. They'll be happy to help you out with anything that could possibly have popped up. And then personally, I just want to encourage you to engage at every opportunity. This is a wonderful program. We are incredibly excited to have the opportunity to bring you all together and work through some really challenging, very thought-provoking issues. So we're excited to have you, and we hope you have a great time. Our first speaker today is Major General Michael Rothstein. He is the commander and president of the Air University, which means that he's responsible for providing full-spectrum instruction, education, research, and outreach at every level throughout the profession of arms in the United States. That means that he leads the Intellectual and Leadership Center of the United States Air Force, which graduates more than 50,000 resident and 120,000 non-resident officers, enlisted, and civilian personnel each year. Additionally, he is responsible for officer commissioning through the Officer Training School and the Reserve Officer Training Corps. Without further ado, please welcome Major General Michael Rothstein.
Morning, folks. Thanks. Please grab a seat. How's everybody doing? Hey, guys. Hey, Trash. Good to see you. Well, this is, I know I spoke to the ACSC class a few weeks ago, and I was remarking at, being up on the big stage. I walked in here this morning and realized how old I was, because it was April of 1995 when I was last in this room sitting in those chairs. And I'm a little grayer and a little heavier, arguably a little wiser, maybe not, since then. But this is a great opportunity. And so first I want to welcome you, and certainly the ACSC class, but I also know we have guests from other parts of the Air Force. I saw some folks from Columbus this morning. We have guests from our local community. We have ex-ACSC commandants now in charge of all of emergency management for the state of Alabama sitting here with us. Trash, great to see you, my friend. And so just welcome everyone. I'd also like to tip my hat to the faculty at ACSC for doing this. This is a little bit different, right? It's a little bit unique, and it involves a little bit of risk because it may fail, right? Like all new things, it is not tried and true, and it may fail. I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be great, and I'm excited for it. But guys like Major Jason Stack and Andrew Clayton, Bill DeMarco, Major Demas, Major Pierce, Major Mansell, Mr. Scott Johnson, folks like that who have gone out of their way to put on something unique and different to make you all better leaders. So huge round of applause for them, please. And I would encourage you to take notes, to ask questions, to challenge yourself. This whole theme, right, of the next couple days is about opportunity and uncertainty. I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. But I promise you, as you go out and lead in the Air Force, some of you have commanded before, many of you will command in the future, and you go out and lead, whether you're a commander, whether you're a leader on the staff, whether you're just a leader because you're a person of influence, you can get something out of these next 2 days. Take notes. Think about it. Ruminate on it. Come back and look at it later. I cannot tell you how many times over the years I have kicked myself for going, oh, I should have listened closer to that, or I should have written that down. That was so good. So be better than me on that. And there is a lot of uncertainty you're going to face as a commander. If you think as a commander that you are going to have a clear mission, all the people, all the resources that you need, and a very clear set of priorities, you are sorely mistaken. You're going to have uncertainty. I can promise you, you're not going to have enough resources. I can promise you, you are not necessarily going to have all the people you want or all the skill sets you want for your job. And that's going to create uncertainty. So thinking about how you deal with that is very important. And we've got a great set of speakers lined up to bring you a diverse set of perspectives. Because we all tend to think a little bit like us, right? Raised in the Air Force, we all wear the uniform. Some of us are civilians, but we all live in the same culture. But they brought in folks from outside of the Air Force to give you a different and unique perspective that I think can help shape you. So let's talk for just a second here before Mr. Henry takes the stage about opportunity and uncertainty. And let me give you a couple of practical things I've learned over the years about how you might take advantage of that. I'm going to give you 3 tips. Number 1, never pass up a good crisis. Okay? A lot of leaders have learned crisis is good. It creates opportunity. And it does so in 2 powerful ways. First of all, whenever you're in a crisis almost by definition is a shared understanding that something is wrong and something needs to change. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be a crisis, right? And you can use that. That's powerful because one of the most important things you can do as a leader is to get your team all going in the right direction, in the direction you want. And a crisis can be a vehicle to do that. Now that crisis can be uncertainty. I was a wing commander at Misawa when we went through the earthquake and tsunami and nuclear scare, which we talked about, I know, at the ACSC class a few weeks ago. So that was a lot of uncertainty. That was crisis. But one of the opportunities that was baked inside of that was a chance to bring a community together in a way that they had never come together and never will probably in the rest of their Air Force career. Because in that crisis was the ability to bring folks together, to get them to work together, to put their own needs aside and think about what the needs of the base and the community were. That was opportunity. And we found that opportunity and were able to exploit that for good. So never pass up a good crisis. And sometimes a savvy leader you will watch, they may create a crisis, frankly, because they know it can galvanize folks to where they need to go. Now, I'm not necessarily a big believer in creating crises that don't exist, but it is important to get everyone to agree that change needs to happen. That is the opportunity and uncertainty when there's uncertainty out there. So rule number 1, don't pass up a good crisis. Rule number 2, value diversity of thought in your team. Especially when you are in an age of uncertainty, whatever you're dealing with. You need some different perspectives. And if you're a leader who tends to shut folks down when they give you that harebrained idea, I would encourage you to not do that. Because not only are you going to shut them up, but you're going to shut up the 15 other people sitting in the room who go, they don't want to get shot down next time too. And it is great to have some of those folks around who think differently than you, who approach it differently. Sometimes that's civilians. Scott Baker is sitting in this room right now. Scott Baker is the CIO, the Chief Information Officer for Air University. He comes from primarily a business background. And if you don't think he helps us think differently and how we can exploit opportunities and uncertainty, you're sorely mistaken, because he has a different set of experiences. He approaches it differently, and he's very valuable. Now, he's not always right. He's right almost all the time. But that perspective is tremendously important. And so as you think about building a leadership team around you, think about surrounding you with people who don't think like you. That's very, very valuable, very important to exploit uncertainty. Now, the trick of this, though, also, by the way, this is Mike Rothstein's opinion, is you don't want too much diversity. Because if everybody thinks totally different, it's actually hard now to get the organization going in the same way. So you want some, but you don't want total, my opinion. And then rule number 3, in uncertainty, take the pens. Take the pens. If there's something that needs to be done, if you're trying to chart a course for the future, if you can get you or your organization to write where that course ought to be, most likely you're going to get pretty close to what you think ought to happen. I've been there sitting on the in national security staff meetings when I was serving the State Department in my last assignment, and we go up and working at the policy-making level for national security. One of the things we were working on is what is the future for lethal autonomous weapon systems? Killer robots, right? Automation, artificial intelligence in weapon systems. What should U.S. national policy be on that? Talk about an area of uncertainty. Lots of things going on there. But what we did from the State Department, from my office, is we took the pens. We said, hey, we'll write the policy that everybody else, the rest of the interagency, can then chop on. And when you take the pens and you put down that first draft, you're driving the train. That's opportunity, folks. You got to take it. It's work. I won't kid you about that. It's work. But it allows you to drive and create opportunity in this area of uncertainty. So 3 things to think about just in this area of opportunity, right? One is, don't be afraid of a crisis. It can galvanize folks for change and get you, and it can help you get rid of those sacred cows that go, we can never do this, but in a crisis, everyone goes, well, maybe we might have to look at that. Number 2, build a diverse team around you to help you think in different ways that lets you see opportunities that you yourself may not come across. And number 3, whenever you can, take the pens. All right? Some thoughts, some practical advice for you. Now, we've got some folks coming up who are going to be terrific. Challenge them. Challenge yourself. Talk about this when you go into those labs. Talk about it over lunch. Get as much as you can out of it. Colonel Drajansky, thanks for leading this. Thanks for allowing your folks to step out there and do something different. I am real excited. I will be in and out over the next couple days. And I hope you guys have a super LEDx. And thanks for letting me open this up. All right, let's get after it.